As you can see from the title of this video, this is the truth about getting in shape and working out that no one else is going to tell you. If you clicked on this video, then I'm willing to bet you have some sort of desire to get ripped. Whether that's losing 10 to 20 pounds or even just getting absolutely jacked. I'm willing to bet that you have some sort of fitness goal in your mind. You've probably heard hundreds of conflicting views when it comes to getting in shape, and you're not sure who to believe. You're not sure which concepts are true and which ones aren't. And I know this because I was in the exact same position when I first started working out. It was the most frustrating thing, because you wanted to listen to the most jacked and ripped dudes because it looks like they know what they're doing, but that's just not always the case. Then sometimes you'll want to listen to some people who aren't in the shape you want to be in because what they're saying makes sense to you, but at the same time, they're not in the ideal shape that you're looking for, so you're not sure if you should believe them or not. Most people understand the idea that if you're going to take advice from someone, take advice from someone who has what you want or has done what you want to do. And with fitness, it's kind of a tricky concept because there's some people who are just straight up genetic outliers, take gear and look absolutely phenomenal, but then really don't know a whole lot about getting in shape or jacked. Like some of the top bodybuilders that you see like way back in the day, they just had coaches pretty much tell them what to do. Like the bodybuilders themselves didn't really know a whole lot. Sure, they understood the basics and everything, but they really just did whatever the coaches told them to do. And I see that all the time today. So when you're a beginner, it's really hard to decipher between good and bad information because of this. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the truth about getting ripped that no one else is gonna tell you. Off the bat, I'm gonna tell you that getting ripped is fucking hard, but it is simple. You don't need to do any sort of fad diet or some sort of unique training mechanism in order to get in shape or build muscle. Sure, these approaches might work for some people, but they aren't crucial for losing fat and building muscle. So what do I mean by like fad diets or weird training programs? It's things like Mike Mentzer training, carnivore diet, intermittent fasting, things like that. Again, not saying those don't work. They work for some people, but what I've found is that so many people are just trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to sell that to you. They're trying to get you to buy their program and buy into their beliefs. Mike Mentzer training program, I mean, yeah, that probably worked for Mike Mentzer way back in the day. So if you guys don't know what that training style is, it's when you do like one set per week per muscle group, but just going all out to failure. This approach is super attractive to people because it sounds like it's a shortcut. It sounds like you can get away with just doing one set per muscle group and see phenomenal gains. And the thing is, that's just what people want to hear. They want to hear that this shit is easy. So they'll buy into that. That's what most people are going to try to tell you. Like, oh, buy my supplements in order to get into great shape super quick. Like, look at the fucking Liver King, bro. That dude was claiming natural for years and years, selling these obscure supplements, pushing the carnivore diet on people, saying that's how he got into the shape that he got into. But anyone with a brain knows that that dude was fucking cranking gear, even though he did get exposed. But even before he got exposed, anyone with a brain knew that that dude was full of bullshit. Now, things like intermittent fasting, for example, that can definitely work to lose fat. It can be a great approach to lose fat. However, it's not 100% necessary. I'm not a huge fan of it because I think eating breakfast is probably the most important meal of the day because you just went all night without eating. So I think it's important to get at least protein in the morning first thing. So anyways, I do have a problem with a lot of these fad diets and training programs because there are no quick fixes or shortcuts in order to get into shape. I cannot stress that enough. People will try to sell these shortcuts to people who don't know better because it sounds attractive, it sounds sexy, it sounds like you can get away with doing less. But I'm gonna tell you right now, all you need to do is just stick to the basics. And again, it's not easy, but it is simple. You don't need to do any sort of like super complex routine in order to get into shape. It just takes time, consistency, and hard work. And I'm talking years and years of doing that. And I know it might sound cliche at this point because you've probably heard that quite a bit, but it is so true. If you're training hard in the gym, getting your sleep, getting your protein in, eating in a calorie surplus or deficit depending on your goal, being consistent with it, then that's really all you need, as well as patience. Which brings me to my next point. I had a comment on one of my last videos saying that in order to get into shape, in order to get ripped, you have to give up absolutely everything in your life, including yourself, including who you are as a person. And this comment made me laugh because I'm like, dude, where are you getting this information from? This could not be farther from the truth because I know for a fact I didn't do that. I know my clients aren't doing that. The whole goal of doing fitness and getting in shape is to make your life better, not to make it worse. I mean, sure, you need to have a little bit more balance in your life, but you don't have to have fitness consume everything. You don't have to sacrifice every sort of enjoyment in your life in order to get a six-pack. But you do need to have some sort of balance and productive routine in place. Like you can't just fuck off all day and expect to get into shape. You still need to put in the work, but you need to make it a sustainable process. And what comes with a sustainable process is not giving up everything in your life. Because obviously people want to enjoy their lives. So what you need to understand is that over time, it gets easier and easier. Now you might be saying, oh, you just said getting ripped isn't easy. It's not. That is correct. It's not easy. Really, the most difficult part for people is building that initial discipline and getting that momentum going. Grinding for months and months on end without seeing the desired result is pretty fucking difficult. However, once you get over that initial like 6-month hump, you have that discipline built up, you have a solid routine dialed in, and you have that momentum in place, then that's when it gets so much easier. Again, it's not like a cakewalk or anything like that, but it is significantly easier than when you first started. That is what no one will tell you. It is super hard at first, but the longer and longer you stick with it, the easier it gets. As much as I wish I could just sit here and tell you that there was a quick fix and that this shit was fucking easy, I just can't. So if I could give you one takeaway for this entire video, it is that you need to build that momentum and not fall into these traps of these quick fixes that other people are trying to sell you. Building momentum is super fucking hard, but once you get that built up, then it becomes way, way smoother. Pretty much no one likes working out until the results start coming in. That's when it gets a little bit more fun, at least for me. Just the idea of knowing that your hard work is paying off is comparable to nothing else. The reason why most people don't make it that far is because they have these unrealistic expectations that this shit is gonna be a fucking cakewalk. They think that if they just grind at the gym for a month or two that they're gonna have a six pack when they're 50 pounds overweight. So you need to set your expectations right. So all in all, getting ripped is simple, but it is not fucking easy. At least in the beginning. There are no quick fixes, so don't fall into these traps of these people trying to sell you supplements, trying to sell you these unique fad diets that sound sexy, because all you really need to do is just stick to the basics. Because there are no shortcuts when it comes to getting in shape. And most of these people who are trying to tell you that there are shortcuts, if you buy into their supplements or programs or whatever, then they are full of shit. So I hope this video sheds some light for you on how to decipher between good and bad information when it comes to getting in shape or getting ripped.